And
All right.
Alpha no.
Thank you.
Or
Hey everyone.
Not Alpha.
So this talk is on multimodal AIs and their use by threat actors. So as I said, it's going to be a bit of a filler talk. This is a little bit last minute, and I'm by no means an expert on this topic. But feel free, ask questions, interject. We're going to be watching a lot of videos and demos to fill some time. But all right, little background on me. I've been a member of Hack Miami for probably like 10 years now. But I've given a bunch of talks on a number of subjects, SDR, cryptocurrencies. Spent about 5 years working in a SOC. Now I work as an investigator, crypto investigator, do financial crime investigations, work with the government, do a lot of crypto, smart contract crime. So let's jump into the talk. What is multimodality? The idea of modality is basically just, your input and your output. So the type of chatbots you're used to are considered text to text. So you input text and text comes out. But there are a number of different modalities that you have out there: image, video, voice, 3D. Oh, sure. I know it's fine. I got it. Video, voice, 3D, music, all of these, and they can serve as both sides of both input and output. So you can go, image to text, video to 3D, voice to text, all of these. And what's even more interesting is combining multiple of these into a single platform. And so combining text, image, video, voice into a single LLM that can use them all together. And that's really where a lot of these LLM systems are going. So we'll start out, let's see if we can get the sound. That's going to be the first interesting hurdle on this one, is how the sound works. Where's sound coming out of? Is it coming out of anywhere?
I have it in your laptop.
Yeah, it might be.
Well, maybe going over HDMI.
That's what I'm wondering. Oh, whoops, and I rode right past it. I don't hear anything.
You might want to change your sound output.
Yes, that's a good call.
HDMI? Yeah, you might want to change speaker.
Oh, okay, but then it's coming out of here, and these speakers suck. We'll see how good that works out. Let's find out. See if you guys can hear this. So to give you some background, people got a little pissed off about this video because Google put this out when Gemini first came out and made it very much seem like this is how Gemini works. It's not. This is smoke and mirrors. They kind of put this together like any demo. But it gives you a really good idea of where these LLM systems are going and kind of the idea of multimodality.
You want to show me the link so I could?
Well, do you have better sound on there? I mean, I think I can do this.
Actually, I think.
What about now?
The
contour lines are.
You can hear that.
Yeah.
All right. I just need to be careful with the shortcuts.
Hit the space
Look
bar.
at that. The next slide button for Google.
Smooth and flowing, with
I know,
no
it's
sharp
right there, I
angles
can't-
or jagged edges.
So they're inputting video and talking to
It looks like a bird to me.
What if I add this?
The bird is swimming in the water. It has a long neck and beak. It is a duck.
Yes.
A duck is a type of waterfowl in the family Anatidae. Ducks are closely related to geese and swans. The duck appears to be blue. This is not a common color for ducks. However, there are some breeds of blue ducks. These are typically not as common as other duck breeds. It is more common for ducks to be brown, black, or white.
Are you sure?
What the quack? I was just talking about a blue duck, and now you're holding one. It looks like blue ducks are more common than I thought.
Would this float?
I'm not sure what material it's made of, but it looks like it might be rubber or plastic.
What if I tell you it's making a squeaking sound?
Oh, if it's squeaking, it's definitely going to float.
Nice.
It is a rubber duck. It is made of a material that is less dense than water.
Can you teach me how to say this in a different language? And give me a few options. Ooh, can you explain how to pronounce the Mandarin one? Is it Yazi?
Yazi is pronounced with a first tone. In Mandarin, there are 4 tones, which are essential to distinguish the meaning of words. The first tone is a high, level tone.
Oh, okay.
The duck is in the middle of the ocean. There is no land nearby for the duck to rest or find food. It is unlikely to find ducks here naturally.
Okay, based on what you see, come up with a game idea. Oh, and use emojis, please.
How about this? We can play a game called Guess the Country.
Sure, let's do it.
Clue 1. This country is the home of the kangaroo, the koala, and the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh, that's easy.
Clue 2. This country loves football and has won the most men's World Cups in football history. You are trying to get me to find the paper ball under the cup. I accept the challenge. The cup to the left.
Nice.
I know what you're doing. You're playing rock, paper, scissors.
What do you see now?
The fingers are spread out to look like the wings of a butterfly.
What's this?
Big ear and barking mouth. A dog.
Sweet.
The coin should be under the right hand.
I don't know.
The coin is in the left hand using a sleight of hand technique to make it appear as if the coin has disappeared. Both objects are round and flat.
There you go.
Both are food. The orange is a healthier choice than the cookie. Citrus can be calming, and so can the spin of the fidget toy. They are both examples of popular toys that have been enjoyed by children and adults alike for many years.
Give me some ideas for what I could make with this.
I see pink and green yarn. How about a dragon fruit? Or how about a green cake with a pink heart?
Okay, how about these colors? And maybe show me some animals.
Okay, now I see blue and pink yarn. How about a pig with blue ears? Or an octopus? Or a bunny with a pink nose?
Ooh, I'll keep those in mind. Which way should the duck go?
Going left leads to a duck, which is a friend. Going right leads to a bear, which is a foe. It is better to make friends than foes, so the duck should go left.
Smart choice.
This is a picture of a crab.
That's right. Is this the right order?
No, the correct order is Sun, Earth, Saturn.
Based on their design, which of these would go faster?
The car on the right would be faster. It is more aerodynamic.
Which looks more fun?
The one on the right, because it has a loop.
What do you think this person might be saying?
How about a woohoo?
Ooh, I love that.
I see you're drawing a guitar. You've added an amp. Now it's an electric guitar. We can make some seriously loud music now. Given that you added drums, how about some 80s hair metal? Alright, I see you've added a palm tree to the drawing. Change it up with some beachy vibes.
What movie are they acting out here?
I think they are acting out the famous bullet time scene from The Matrix.
Ooh, nice. What do you think might happen next?
The cat is going to jump to the wall and stick the landing. It's going to be a perfect 10. Oh, and it's a miss. It looks like it was just a little too far away, but don't worry. The cat is a natural athlete and it will be back up there in no time.
Okay, I've got one more for you. Describe the drawing I made.
It is a simple line drawing of the constellation Gemini. You did a good job of capturing the beauty of Gemini.
Nice. That's it.
I have so many questions.
Yes.
Because a lot of time he's not prompting it. He's just sticking something.
And that's
in
the
camera.
smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
That's the smoke and mirrors, because everything that he showed there, Gemini can do in a setup environment with pre-prompting, setting it up, setting an image, blah, blah, blah. We're not that far away from that. But it's picking up on stuff like that and keeping the conversation as total smoke and mirrors. These are separate instances that they pre-prompted, selected the best instances, and then kind of framed. It's nothing like that. But it shows you all of the different kind of mixtures of modalities of being able to discuss it with it. It discusses back. So you're going, speech to text, text to speech. You're doing image to text, he's showing images, it's interpreting what's going on, the context clues like that. With the yarn, you're going image to text and then text to image. It's showing like different pictures, generating music. The more interesting one that isn't really there yet, that is still coming out in isolated parts, is video to text, being able to put in a video and get context clues. There's some interesting stuff coming out of being able to take like a 30-minute YouTube video and just tossing into an LLM, being like, summarize this video for me, and then discussing what's going on with it.
There's so much nuance in facial expressions and gestures and
Right.
movement that I don't think.
But you saw, the surprising thing is, look at some of those details. You know, I'm trying to use the arrow keys and it just blows right through. Look at some of these examples. Like, especially, think about the context that has to be picked up here.
Is pronounced. Play a game called.
Also here, it's generating code. It made a game. I've done this before. That's the other thing that I can do easily. This is a really good one. It's able to like follow temporally where the ball should be and has this idea of like object permanence, which toddlers don't have. There are certain like making connections. This is a really interesting thing of trying to understand, you know, keep on doing that.
Yeah,
How-
but you'd have to ask it, like, what makes these items similar? What makes them dissimilar?
Yes.
To the
That's
butterfly.
like a ton of.
What's
That
this?
was the one I was
Big
like.
ear and
Like
barking mouth.
like
a
this,
dog.
like.
Sweet.
Well, you could tell that it's not going like there is a lot of video editing in this, so there's probably just a whole bunch of like, what's this? Oh, he probably did it like, what's this first? And it's like, oh, the ear's a little small. It could be a cat or something, And it's like, no, what about this? And
Yeah,
And
they
then he
cherry
did
pick.
it
They could have
again,
prompted.
they
I'm gonna make
cherry-picked
shadow
it,
puppets or whatever, and so you're pre-prompting. Point is, we're not that far away. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about deliberately making inaccurate information?
Like training it.
No, just putting out false stuff.
We're gonna
Knowing that
we're gonna get into that.
that's- I mean, because there you get to the point of you can deliberately manipulate, so a weighted average.
Right.
It depends on, but I'll let you finish your.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. So that I wanted to just okay. So I just wanted to give you an idea of multimodalities and how they're kind of applied. So this I'm going to blow past. Text to text is not really interesting to me. I feel like we've covered it enough. You're familiar with it. ChatGPT, Anthropic has Claude, Google has Gemini. It's used for all sorts of things. And coding is one of the biggest things because code is just text. I've even used them. I work at smart contracts and like blockchain stuff. We're doing formal analysis of smart contracts. Normally, you would need someone who has like a master's or a PhD in formal analysis, like formal verification of code. It's really high level stuff. That's why it was never scalable for like audits. Is it's too expensive to hire a PhD who's going to create the formal. ChatGPT is like a PhD level. It's now revolutionizing auditing for this stuff because you now have access to a PhD level person who can type up these audit tests, these formal verifications for code. So it's super powerful, but not what this talk is about. More interesting is these different modalities. So when it comes to images, there's a couple of different ones. We're obviously familiar with, image generations like DALL-E and Stable Diffusion, and they are increasing in fidelity at an alarming pace. They're getting better and better every day. But beyond that, that is pure text to speech. That's zero shot. You're generating an entire image, where this is even more fascinating. I forgot to look this up beforehand, but let's see if I can find it real quick. There is.
You seen the Microsoft Vasto 1 release that took place Friday?
Yep, it's on my talk. It's on my talk.
God.
There is some really cool stuff called in-painting, and there is a demo. Let me see if I can. That's too old. This is now 2 years old. This might be a little too old, but I've seen some really incredible videos
The jetpack.
showing in-painting. So what in-painting is, this is like what Photoshop does. Instead of doing the entire picture, what you're able to do is select a specific area and do text-to-speech for just that, to fill in. Or you can do what is showing up here, which is you create an outline. Vague outlines of just, like you can see on the left-hand side, and I hope he's going to jump into this. Let's see if I can jump ahead. Yeah, here we go. It's a really good example of
For
in-painting.
example, let me select the mountain brush here. I can just quickly create a shape And what Canvas does, it uses its AI-driven algorithm and it tries to integrate it and create a much way more polished version of what I was trying to do here. And as you can see, like I'm getting something very interesting here. I can create a fog brush and just paint a little bit of fog, and you see how Canvas integrates the fog with those mountain shapes that I had before. I can select the C brush, and then as you paint, you will see those things appearing in front of you. It's just mental. It's very interesting. Obviously, this is not what I classic.
You can see. So this is multimodal because it's both image and text. Each one of these colors is associated with some type of material or some type of information that they've given ahead of hand as text. They can even set the style or the scene, kind of set some contextual information, and then go in and direct it. So this provides a lot more tailoring, kind of adjustability into what your image is. You can't, it's not just a single sentence and you're hoping it shows out how you want. You can actually go in and tailor and fine tune it to exactly what you want it to appear. And there's some incredible videos. This isn't even the one I wanted to pull up. It shows off the concept. But I saw someone doing essentially Photoshop inside of...
It works.
Yeah.
Mike uses it all the time. You
But-
just circle what you want and just remove the people from this background. Works. Make this bed.
I saw
Bed
someone
is
mocking up a
amazing.
scene by literally taking clip art, slapping it together, and smoothing it together, and creating circles and having in painting, and you can snap together a custom scene.
Rapid meme generation for
Right.
chat is just like, it's insane. You'll take let me take the corporate photo of you of your ID and go, okay, make this a meme of Pee Wee Herman. And just Photoshop slaps together like 17 different examples,
Right.
and you just pick the funny one and send it.
You've seen the costume one for Halloween. It's like the fake costume, and it's always like some. Like, you've never seen that? It's like a
Maybe.
fake costume bag, and it's always the weirdest things like.
Oh, yes,
IT
yes.
Professional or.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
From the Halloween store, like in the packaging.
Mhm.
Yes, I've seen those.
There's an AI meme generator?
No, it's Photoshop has AI built in, and you
Yeah.
literally you give it a prompt, or you give it a photo, like pull up the photo you want to add like something to it, you prompt into it, and it'll generate like through Stable Diffusion kind of thing, and a whole bunch of different.
Lasso tool.
Yeah.
Add a house plant here. No.
Yeah.
Right.
Next.
Yeah.
Yes, that one's good.
Circle. Remove this table.
Yep.
And that's what's called in painting. So you're selecting an area, you're removing part of it, and then you're saying to fill it in with this. So instead of doing the entire image, you're just doing a certain section.
How much is Photoshop?
It's expensive.
Yeah,
Oh,
Cloud
yeah.
Studio, yeah. Then it's
It's
is
an
that-
annual subscription model, just like JetBrains, and it's up there. It's like 250, 300
Right.
a year.
Yeah,
Man.
it's not cheap.
I wonder when GIMP's gonna get on board.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a good question.
But like the in-image stuff too, like I do that here.
Mm-hmm.
Like pixel images, like you erase people in the background, you erase objects. Like it's been
Mhm.
around for a year and a
Yeah,
half
for a
now,
while.
but it's just gotten so good.
Got really good. And so the other one that's related, that's been around for a while before a lot of these generative AI ones, is image to image. You put in an image, you put in another image for things like style transfer, and you can see, like, you know, you put in a cat with Picasso, and it comes out cat in Picasso style. So there's a lot of these that have been around, and it shows kind of the modality. And I think that video we just showed shows how you can combine text and image to get output. So that really shows how these things are powerful.
We generated a logo. There was a 5K I think we went to on St. Patty's Day.
Mhm.
It's like, all right, our teammate is called the Shamrock Shellys. All right, I want a Pokemon style turtle from this image running slow.
Yeah.
And it was like 3 versions. That's the logo. Put it on a T-shirt. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Crazy.
should see the amount of Care Bears I've generated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Every
man, I can make
color,
a business out of this.
sorry.
Just go, Teespring prompt here, you get your shirt kind of thing. Right.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about here is more interesting, is image to text. And I think if anything, this is what prompted me to want to give this talk in the first place, which, let's see, you can input images into ChatGPT. So, yeah, GPT-4. And so let me give you some examples of how this looks. Let's take a bird. Let's take any bird. I'm just going to Google an image of a bird.
We'll use the Puteki Teki.
This one, it's not a great image of it. It's a little
All
close
these
up.
little
This is a nice bird. What the hell is this? Let's find out.
There you go. Yeah. What is
That's a hummingbird.
It might be an AI generated bird. Let's find out. But so just to show you what you could do this, so I'm gonna paste the photo in as what kind of bird is this?
Hummingbird. That bird on Tuesday.
Let's see what it says. It legit might be AI generated.
Hey, good
Appears to be a hummingbird, right?
Yeah.
So,
However, the color
Yeah.
scheme.
Look, Eddie even thinks it's AI generated.
Unusually vibrant.
Yep. But I use this all the time, and it has really good OCR as well. I'll have times where I'll see like a Reddit post or a Twitter post, and I don't want to copy and paste it. I will literally just screenshot it and toss it in here and start talking about it. Super powerful. Let's see if I can.
Use it to do location, like where is this in the world, and it's a picture of a place.
Oh, that's crazy.
If it's not like a current, like oh that's a painting at the Louvre. It was published and it's been hanging in like what the hell.
But it's really good. It's really smart. It's as knowledgeable about photos and putting stuff in here as it is about almost anything else.
PowerPoint has a very basic version of this. When you upload a photo, it does the alt text automatically.
Oh,
So
interesting.
and I don't know if it's like proprietary to, because I have a business one for my work.
Mhm.
But yeah, as soon as you import a photo, it automatically suggests alt text.
They're putting Copilot in everything now. If your business has E5 licenses and your IT department is not adverse to leveraging it, they're putting it in Word, they're putting it in PowerPoint.
Word has an
they're
OCR
putting
for
it
a
everywhere.
while.
Hold on. Let's see. This is an example that I
Oh yeah.
I heard about originally, and let's see if it will work.
What car is this?
No, watch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it this photo of a trunk of my. I own a Tucson. I don't know. That doesn't actually look like a Tucson, but doesn't matter. It's gonna work
It's
for
an
this.
empty trunk, right?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna buy a TV, and I'll give it the model number. Will it fit in my trunk?
Who kidding?
And it will be surprisingly accurate. I'm buying a TV, an S95B. That's my TV, and want to know if it will
That was
fit
revolutionized
in
IT
my
accounting.
trunk.
you have a
Here's
95-inch
a
TV?
picture.
That's a Samsung model.
Hey, all I know is that
It's my TV. That's why I know the model number off the top of my head. Let's see what it'll say.
But it's available in a few sizes.
Let's see what it says. Oh, you asshole.
Yeah,
It used to be a little bit more. I tried this with my trunk for this TV when I went to go pick it up. And I told it, and it looked up the dimensions of the TV. It looked up the dimensions of my truck. It used the photo of my truck.
Prompt it. Just
Here,
you can look that up
No,
yourself.
but you have to say.
look it up. Let's see what it figures out. I gave it the model number.
But you have to. It'll probably say,
Yeah, we have- is
say
it
what's
like
the what's the
Samsung,
packaging
like-
size?
yeah, or-
No, it's surprisingly accurate. It's also
This TV is in three sizes.
the S95B. Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, it knows it's a 65 inch.
Ah, see?
65 inch. Yeah, look at that. That's crazy. It was trying to
The
save the
dimensions
money.
of your trunk. See, but it's one extra step for you just
Let's see.
telling it to do it itself.
Yeah,
Let's see,
if-
hold on.
If it can't figure out what.
I gave you a photo. Use that. And see what it does.
Now I didn't see any.
It doesn't have a basis for dimensions.
No, but let's see. It might be able to infer based on features in the photo what kind of car it is, and then use that to look it up.
Right.
Yes, or it could maybe just infer based off of, okay, this is averagely this size for all of these models, measure this.
Aha, see?
Say it's a Toyota RAV4 2024.
Yeah. But still, it shows you how you can use these photos. It's going to do an approximation. Let's see. It
Yes,
says it can try. It says it can use the photo to give me an approximation. That's what I want to use. I want to.
So what size are you getting?
What?
Looks like TV.
No, you
That
don't
is my
have-
TV that I got. It's a 65 inch.
And that fit in there?
The photo's not my trunk. It did fit in my car, and it was not easy. I had to put the things down and kind of slide it to the
See,
side.
I had a problem with the 55. I have a Ford Explorer.
Okay.
And I'm just truly amazed. I mean, I never.
It was a
had-
tight fit, and this is why I had this conversation with this thing, because I didn't know if it was going to fit.
See, but like,
Look,
It's
at
also
it.
been programmed to kind of like back out of its statements and not make really commitment statements because it's a liability thing, and they don't want people being like, well,
Right.
you said I'd be able to do this, and now I can't, so I'm going to bring it up.
My point though is, it's capable of a lot.
It did it.
It's pretty good. And the thing you have to remember with all of these AIs is this is as bad as they're going to be. They only get better from
Oh,
here.
yeah.
All of this stuff
they're already
only gets
pretty
better
good.
from here.
The reason why we had to update our executive policy. Yeah, you're still a doctor, you still are liable. Don't, you know.
Oh, are you saying don't take your notes in ChatGPT? Because a lot of doctors were doing their notes in ChatGPT.
It's not that, like, we have an internal AI, like, rollout.
Perfect.
But we have to have an acceptable use policy that
Right.
states we aren't liable if you make a medical decision that causes a
Right.
problem to one of your patients.
You can't just put
It's
it.
still your medical license.
Yeah,
Right?
You hear about the lawyer who cited case law that didn't exist, and the
Yeah.
judge
Check that
chewed
shit.
him.
He's just lazy.
Oh, he was super lazy, but that's the danger, and it's the same thing for doctors.
Yeah.
What if a doctor puts in a bunch of symptoms and goes to recommend treatment, and then just hands it off and doesn't think, and then the treatment's completely BS, and but the AI, no, you're the doctor, you have to
It's
review
already
that
started.
stuff.
They had that with Air Canada.
Mm.
Air Canada.
Oh, the chat referred, the
The fake
public
refund
facing
fund.
chat on their website discounted approval, like, I don't
Did a
know.
refund. It did a refund for something it wasn't supposed to,
Yeah,
and they had to honor it.
And then they didn't choose not to honor it, and they took him to court.
And the court's like, no, that AI is a public representative of your company. You have to hold it. Yeah.
And basically said, it's on your website. How
No,
is
they-
the consumer supposed to know that that's not you?
They held the
Right.
AI
And they
more
held
accountable
them to
than
the
they
pay-
hold
Another one, they didn't get held to it, I don't think, but I think it was a car dealership where someone got the AI chatbot to basically sell them a car for $1.
Yeah.
Like a $50,000 car for $1.
That's awesome.
They didn't hold up to it, but like they didn't take him to court. So it's fascinating. But I wanted to show you, especially this ChatGPT 4 stuff, and I think Claude and Gemini, the paid models, all have this ability to process images, and it's really powerful. You should use it, more often. All right, moving on. Video modality. So this one's interesting. I'm assuming you guys have heard of Sora, which is OpenAI's video. So this is text to video AI. Now it is still closed source. They have not released it to the public. They're opening it up to kind of select people to test out and stuff. This is an example using Sora that one of the people who got early access to it used it to make a short film. So let's check it out.
Sure is text to video.
Come on, why? Let me do this instead. Oh no, I won't go full screen.
Well, they say everyone has something unique about them, something that sets them apart. It's just in my case, it's quite obvious what that thing is. I am literally filled with hot air. Yeah, living like this has its challenges. Windy days, for one, are particularly troublesome. Or there was the one time my girlfriend insisted I go to the cactus store to get my Uncle Jerry a wedding present. Ugh. What do I love most about my predicament? Ooh, the perspective it gives me. I get to see the world differently. I float above the mundane and the ordinary. I see things a different way from everyone else. Yeah, and I feel like it's because of that perspective I'm reminded every day that life is fragile. We're all just a pinprick away from deflation. So I try to live life with a lightness, a buoyancy, a joie de vivre. I got a lot of ideas keeping this thing full. With any luck, I'll find a way to share them with everyone else.
Like, the crazy part to me is, like, was that generated and rendered? No, it was footage it found on YouTube and whatever, and mashed it all together.
Right.
Like, it is a IP nightmare.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I was just gonna say that, you're stealing ideas.
Yeah.
And like, I've already heard this book publisher is suing, OpenAI.
Though a lot of them are like in video when they one of their announcements talked about all of their they're making partnerships with Getty Images and some of these producers who have copyright holders. Hey, it's interesting. Now on the flip side of it, I don't know that it should strictly be copyright, because on the flip side, like an artist doesn't have to pay licensing for every piece of art that they saw and were inspired by.
Yeah.
And not every piece of generative AI is a pure stochastic parrot that is purely doing copying. It's not like taking magazine clipping and doing a collage. There is some novelty to it.
Yeah.
So I think there is a specific gray area, but yeah, as it stands right now, this is a complete copyright nightmare.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing that actually comes up too is there were a couple of years ago, a photographer, I think it was National Geographic, had a monkey take a picture with their camera. The monkey was the one who clicked the button, like took a selfie with the camera. And well, this is the thing, it went to court. PETA tried to say that the monkey was the copyright holder. And the law was basically like, the monkey's not a human, only humans can make copyright. And now those laws are coming back up with generative AI, which is saying that, like, no.
That's some full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
It's
Thank you for having
interesting.
that on the books for every lawyer to say,
Right.
see, this was already decided this way.
Right. So it's interesting. Now, I don't know that it's that clear cut, because there is an aspect to me that feels like that argument could completely stonewall true progress in general. Like,
So did AI write the story?
No,
Or just make
that was the video. So the voice and the story were created by a person.
Okay.
Every shot there was 100% text to video though. Not a part of that was, selectively chosen, blah blah, but that was 100% full shot
And
text
yet
to
it was
video.
able to keep the bloom consistent throughout.
Right, and that's the thing that is really taking them so long with these video stuff is temporal consistency, getting consistency frame to frame.
Well, I think it only does 30 seconds at a time. So he has 30-second
Yes.
clips
They do.
that he has to video edit and slice all of them together. Like it doesn't generate the entire video. It's only 30-second clips.
Right, not the entire thing. Yeah, go ahead.
I was reading an article, a forum, where an individual was talking about high density racks, 300 kilowatts. And a person said, I mentioned that they had worked at some company and they have racks like that are full throttle all the time, and they're all AI.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about in the beginning climate change or just
Oh, yeah.
environmental considerations.
Oh yeah,
I think that
it's huge.
that is,
And they know it.
nuclear, you're going to have a problem of
But that you bring up the word nuclear, they are addressing this. So first of all, I saw a study released. I think in the next 10 years, AI is going to account for something like 20 to 25% of the energy usage. Period. It's crazy. It's growing at exponential. So much so that a lot of these AI companies like OpenAI and whatever, and Bill Gates has been doing this. They're doubling down on nuclear, specifically modular nuclear, small modular nuclear, because they've realized the energy demand that's going to be cropping up, and the fact that they can't rely on the grid to accommodate. They are literally, like, a part of them building these AI farms is going to be sourcing your own electricity.
this, what you're talking about now. I turned 57, so I'm dating myself, but that was talked about 30 years ago about a nuke under the desk. And it was really a joke back then, but that's where it's gotten.
Right.
And I see, like with the cloud and the edge, you're going to have to do that because of, not because of environmental concern, but how are you going to put, it's just inefficient to have big, large power sources.
They are putting a lot of data centers next to power plants now.
And they have to, and this is the thing, I'm all for renewables, but the issue with the renewables is they don't address base load. They are temperamental. The solar panels only work when the sun's out, wind generators only go when the wind generators, and we do not have a solution for large-scale power storage. I mean, you have batteries. Batteries are, Tesla's now doing their farms of whatever, but that's small scale. For the most part, they literally have to build lakes and build dams, or they do like pumped hydro. It is not easy. The point is, it's just not a solved problem. It's large scale energy storage. And so nuclear is a great way of addressing baseload.
The new Fallout show came out.
I just watched it. I just finished it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
been
every time you say like household nuclear, all I see is like the little reactors that are at the bottom of every building in Fallout.
Yep.
Tiny little
Like the
core.
cars
Like,
blow up because they're all powered by
saw the
nukes.
strain
Yeah.
when crypto became a huge thing, right? That huge strain too.
Mm.
Interestingly enough, I was in Utah October and by chance talked with he was a physicist, a PhD, but he ran the power and from a scientific perspective over in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, I was like, generation of electricity and all that stuff. He goes, the best way and to store it, pump a bunch of water above the top of a mountain, and then let it run down. And then
They
keep
do
filling it up.
The problem is that's really restricted by geography. Not everywhere can do that.
That's it's less about, you know, hey, there's places on this planet that we can use to do that, but then moving that energy to the rest of the world is the challenge. And he was specifically calling out the grid problems over there in the EU and Europe and how much of a mess it is because
Isn't
the
each
country
one
is
its own
political.
thing?
Yeah, but what's interesting enough though is through all that entire discussion is the point was the grid over there has more redundancy than the U.S. grid.
Oh yeah.
And it's why? Because of that political barrier of nonsense. Because every country
That's
has
it.
to be their own kind of power,
Right.
but they still interconnect between each
Yeah.
other. So when one country goes dark, they can feed each other, and there's a lot more redundancy. But like to the challenge of that is like, you know, huge farms next to power plants. That's why there's this huge big push to research for fission and nuclear fission and for energy generation. And
Right.
you hear like, oh, we've for 30 seconds had a spot that was hotter than the sun for, you know, a huge number, right? Like the amount of energy that we just generated off of that, like the fact that we can do that now on our planet means that this is just going to continue to advance, to continue to allow us to go
The other thing
where
is
we're going.
you do say nuclear, but in the past decade or two has been we very much want to decommission all the nuclear plants.
But that's
Now
more political
trying to
and
especially in Europe is now can we unmothball them?
most of Europe. Germany has shot themselves in the foot. France, on the other hand, is really they
France has always been
super
forward
nuclear.
thinking with
Yeah,
nuclear.
very nuclear.
But then again, do you want 50-year-old Chernobyls running? I mean, eventually, the metal
Also,
gets fatigued
we
or
have-
whatever happens when it's exposed to it.
we also have metal reuse plants. We barely use the fuel rods.
Oh yeah, and nuclear fuels can be reprocessed, and there's a lot of energy that's still in nuclear waste, and whatever. The point is, it's still a good thing. I think politically, after Chernobyl, after Fukushima, a lot of the environmental, it was just became a political hot topic, but we kind of shot ourselves in the foot because it would have been a great solution to climate change. But I'm gonna get back to this.
Sorry.
No, it's good. This is good. But what I wanted was just an open discussion. But I wanted to show you some other video AIs. Specifically, I brought this one up. This is from Google. Another one of these text to video. Also do kind of video to audio is a really interesting one that they have too, where you put in a video and it generates the audio that it thinks would be associated with that video.
The background noise and all that other stuff. Like, okay,
Can you
this
click
helps
the
me
train?
make my
Can you
thing.
see it?
Yeah, let's see the train one. So it's not great. A lot of these are not great, but it shows you along
What
the
about the
lines.
dragon?
Yeah, let's see what let's see what it thinks a dragon sounds like.
Like it's like a roar.
Yeah,
It's like a roar.
Yeah.
But I pulled this up partly for this, and it shows you kind of the idea of multimodality, of different things coming in: text, images, mass that show kind of depth and optical flow, mass videos, and how it can pull out different, text to video, image to video. You put it in an image, and it kind of animates it. Stylization, or video to audio. So just showing how some of these AIs are combining modalities to create some really interesting functionality there. The last one I'll bring up, you brought this up earlier, is this just came out from Microsoft. And this is audio-driven talking faces. So this is audio and image to video, specifically face video. So they take in a single image, right, and audio, and this is what they come up with.
Oh,
So,
great.
sometimes nothing happens and sometimes everything happens all at once and you just gotta deal with it. And
There's
it's
a
also
video
just
delay,
strange
it doesn't look
to
as good.
both be extremely worried
You can
about
see it on
different
there.
things and have your anxiety levels like peak to
Sorry.
the highest they've ever been.
Yeah, it's the camera.
And then also be
Shitty
extremely
Max.
happy and grateful
Let me see if I
that we
can.
were able to buy an apartment.
we
It's
go
all these
full screen with
conflicting
this?
emotions. They had their way with me.
this
Let's just say
scares
I
me.
had
There, if you
so
guys
many
can see it on my
opportunities to
screen,
practice
it's
what I
actually
preach.
synced up.
So I
This
try my
scares the
best
crap out of
to
me.
take care of
You're
myself.
the only one doing
I
that.
try
Well,
my
it's
best
not
to
that,
stay
right? Like, I think
mindful,
about it this
to
way,
meditate.
Like, last pass that I reported, Vish using AI generated
Well, and so
text,
that's
now
exactly-
this becomes AI generated conference call.
This is where I'm going to get into the
That's
malicious
already
actor
happened.
stuff. Right.
That is
There was someone, there was a financial person who was told to wire money on the basis of
that you guys are jumping ahead of my entire talk. Yes, there's no, it's fine. There's a lot of other control that you can have around here. You can control emotion and pose and face. This is hilarious.
Yo, I'm a paparazzi. I don't play no Yahtzee. I go pop, 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 pop.
It's stupid. But yeah, so there's it's getting to the point. I mean, the legitimate uses for this is for video calls. Being able to do video calls without actually videoing your face with things like.
Can you send me that link?
Yeah.
I want, or post that link in the channel.
No, but I'll post all of this stuff.
Yeah, because I need to. I want to show that one to some guys that work for Red Teaming.
Okay.
We just made it easier for you to get a password.
Right.
We just made it easier.
I needed a video and a YouTube recording of the CEO, and there you go. Like, what the hell?
That's interesting, because I had to reset my Discord account. I locked myself out, long story. But it took 2 weeks for me to actually get control of it. So if you make it really, really long, it's going to defeat that lockout.
Right.
I know with the Apple, if I get 10 times, okay, 5 minutes, but then it goes to 10 minutes, but then it goes to really, really exceptionally long. I mean, sometimes you get up to 7 or 8 days.
Right.
So that's a way to defeat it.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see. It becomes adversarial. Like all of this stuff, it becomes now a game of cat and mouse. So moving on to audio. Speech to text, text to speech, this has been around for a long time. This is like the original AI. Siri being able to do kind of transcription. Nowadays you can also do it with these LLMs. ChatGPT has a mode that you can go full text to speech, speech to text, just have a conversation with it, and it will synthesize it. But now we're getting into kind of the place where this gets dangerous. I'm going to skip over this because I talk more on the kind of adversarial side, but voice cloning. Being able to clone someone's voice, mimic someone, impersonate someone, gets pretty scary. The other one that came up, and I'll bring this up, I don't know if you guys saw the stories about this, is, Drake, the AI Drake called Ghostwriter. This got so big that the studio that Drake has.
DMC.
Yeah, they did a DMC take on a lot of streaming sites for this because it was kind of a little too close. This blew up on TikTok and a bunch of streaming service, got like millions of views and stuff like that. Sounds like Drake. So a lot of this music is coming out. I also wanted to do a live demo here. We can take some request here. I think it's called Sona AI. So there's some music. No, that's. I had it up earlier. Sona. Should be Sona. Here's AI Test Kitchen. This is Google. Anyone can do this, but you can just put in, oh wow, there's a lot of stuff here. Generate music on the fly.
AI Test Kitchen?
Yeah, they have a couple of these. So here, what's this? A rising synth playing an arpeggio with a lot of reverb. I literally just had it generate a random stuff. So let's go and play. There we go. Generate. Let's see what that looks like.
Optimizing your prompt. Huh. It actually changed your prompt.
Yeah. I'll be honest, this one isn't even that good. I was playing around with another one, Sona, earlier, that does a lot better job. But it shows you, like, AI music is coming, and text to music is getting better and better.
Now, what's the licensing with that? So if you were to generate that and then use it in a commercial, is it licensed? Like, you're good?
In some of these AI generators, it's license free. It depends on what they decide. And I think it's going to depend on training, whether they license data. I don't know what, the licensing around this stuff is going to become a huge headache.
The music licensing already is a huge headache. It's not just
True.
It's not just this is the audio recording. It's
Well,
there's
like
all sorts of other rights involved.
Well,
there's services like premiumbeats.com. I don't know if you guys have ever used that, but it's basically like that type of music that they generate, and you pick what you want for your commercial or the background of your like your short on Insta or whatever, and then you're allowed to use it, but they generate the music. Now if this generates itself and it's duty free or whatever, that whole website's out.
You'll see like models pull up companies that will sell this to like music companies, and they're like it's private just to them, and they use it, and it's tuned for their liking, and they'll fire all of their audio engineers because it's like I don't need you anymore.
Right.
This literally replaces you. I need you to make my one master. So instead of having a team of audio engineers, I've got those like 3 people that know how to make a master tape that I can keep for my lawsuit, and then that's it. So I no longer pay
This interface
writers.
is like-
What's wrong?
No. Anytime I try and click a space bar, it like interprets the wrong thing.
That's great.
It's just the worst
and sucks
interface
at
in
the
the
same
world.
time.
You ever
Yeah, but I
feel
think
like
you're gonna have people drift more toward human interaction, human content.
If it sounds good, people listen. That's
hence the Drake thing.
yeah. Like
Right.
that kicked off and made
He should have owned it. He
views.
should have been like, "Yep, that was me."
Yeah, right.
No, and
and then just claim the money on the this is ours, right?
It's
Like,
my likeness. It's my voice. It's
Yeah.
mine. I did it.
The one with Sona that I put out was really good, and you can get them in a mode where it literally like goes infinite. Like you create your own radio station,
Yeah.
and it will just go continuously. They're gonna get there to the point where you're gonna want to listen to AI music.
I already want to try it.
Yeah.
Like create a bop.
I'll pull up Sona in a bit when we were at the end to show you because I was playing around with it. It's actually surprisingly good.
Make me a whole bunch of Toby Keith music.
Right.
You know?
Make
Or
me
like
a
some
Hacker country.
Hold on,
Hacker
I showed
country
you.
music.
I showed you. I sent you a link yesterday on one
Oh
song.
man. Yeah.
There's some parody songs that are pretty
That was,
hilarious.
I made it.
Those
I made
special.
it through 30 seconds of that.
Give me some Toby
too much.
Keith, Weird Al Yankovic, collage music.
Yeah. And theme
What-
it to South Park.
No, and
It's like
Oh,
Jesus.
Just better and better. I think we're all gonna go home and do this, by the way.
All right, so the last modality I wanted to cover, this is pretty interesting, that's an evolving one, is text to 3D. So this is something that's coming out that, it's going to be big in video games and stuff where you spend a lot of time creating 3D assets. You can see here they put in a blue poison dart frog sitting on a water lily, and it generates a 3D model of exactly that.
or for 3D printing.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just thinking
That's the other
that.
thing you
Give
can
me
do
the
for 3D
STL for
printing.
this object.
Yeah,
That would be cool.
exactly.
That would be the
Well,
best.
and that's what a 3D, you put
Yeah,
a
but
3D.
look how rough it looks like.
It
Right.
just gets
But-
better.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Keep
no,
on
not hating on it, not hating on
remember
it,
that
just-
this is as bad as it's gonna
Oh,
be.
it's so.
That they're pretty good, surprisingly. I mean, sure.
Sushi.
Right.
There was there's a
It looks like a
video.
car on
It
top.
does look like a car on sushi. Oh, it's a bunny on a sled. Stacked pancakes.
I watched this guy called Code Bullet, and he uses AI to generate his monologue for his video game.
The Rick and Morty live stream thing. Yeah.
Like,
See that?
towards where he started and towards the end, I was like,
It's incredible. Yeah. It's incredible.
Like game writers no longer need
Right.
and you can generate the voices. And
Well, so how
generate-
long have you ever played video games that are like generative dungeons or procedurally
Yeah,
generated
procedurally
games?
this is
How
like
long until we
XCOM.
get to a point where it's like even the assets in the game are procedurally generated?
Yeah, that's like the procedurally generated levels for replayability. You never play the same level ever again, right?
And again, what I might be showing you, it might not seem like it could be usable today, but I've been following image generation, some of these like text to image stuff since 2016 or whatever. I've seen it come along. It goes slow and then all of a sudden it hits a tipping point and it's like really usable all of a sudden. Give this 5 years. Like you'll see it in a video game. So with that, that's the end of the modalities. Where I want to end off though is I want to show you Hugging Face. Hugging Face is a really good site where you can get access to all these models and play around with them. Part of why I want to show you this though is on the left hand side. You can see here the different tasks that they have. Let's see if they have. I think they might have a document on task, but it can show you all of the different. Do they have one here? Tasks. Demos, use cases here, yeah. This is what I wanted to show you. All of the different modalities and the different AIs that they have out there and the features that they have. So you can see here, like image to 3D, text to 3D, image feature extraction, text to video, image to image, image to text, object detection. So there's a lot of stuff that you can go in here. And almost all of these have models. They're open source for the most part. A bunch of stuff on audio, audio to audio, automatic speech recognition, text to speech, audio classification.
But besides, what's it called? GPT for all. What interface do you plug these models in to actually render text to video?
It's going to depend a lot. I played around with a couple of models locally for image generation, and there's some, I can't remember the name, it's been a while. There's some program that you put in, you download these models, you put them into it. You'll be able to find tutorials on how to do this all yourself. They're going to change from model to model. Text to image is going to be its own thing. Some of these other models are going to be different. You're really digging in the weeds here. You're going to be looking at a GitHub and kind of compiling your own code and doing stuff. A lot of this stuff is not easy. Some of these pages will offer, let's go back to here and let's look at stuff like...
Look, Darth Vader riding a surfboard, right?
Right.
That was Darth Vader on a
here, text to video.
Surfing.
Right, let's look at text to video. Full text search trending. Let's do most downloads. All right. What is this? ByteDance.
Do you ever click on these things and go, God, I hope you're not porn?
Not on this site, not on
Okay.
Hugging Face. Luckily. No, you got to go to special places for that. Some of these will have like demo pages where you can go in and play around with them within Hugging Face. They will have like a sandbox that you can go. Again, this is just kind of a repository, an aggregator of different repositories and stuff like this. Look at that. Some of these you'll have to run yourself. They'll have models. Some
That's
will
what I'm
have
trying
sandbox.
to... Like right there, the Python code at the bottom.
Right.
Let me scroll down a little bit more right there. Like, okay, torch there, and then... What was the...
What's more important is you got to look at
A
these.
space rocket with a trailer of smoke behind it launch. And they asked for 16 and 4K resolution.
Yeah.
6
And there's
frame.
negative prompts. Bad quality, worse quality, low resolution, blah, blah, blah.
CPU. Okay,
They're
okay,
using, I think, PyTorch.
So they're using PyTorch right there.
And then here is the pre-trained data, I assume,
And
that
then-
they're pulling in. So if I scroll up,
And
yeah,
then they're using
animates.
export to GIF instead, so they're not using
Yep, export to GIF. It outputs frame by frame and keeping temporal cohesion. So that's how this model is working.
Okay, well,
I
this
mean,
one's just making a small GIF,
Right.
not an actual video. Well,
I guess. I mean,
guess.
yeah, the temporal cohesion within image sequences.
The other
That's
thing is, how
video.
big are these models? Can you do run them on a home computer, or do you need the actual storage and RAM to go with it?
For these models, a lot of the time you need the storage and RAM. But I was able to do it. I have a gaming laptop with a 2070 I have in there, and I have 64 gigs of RAM in that, so that's a lot. But
you're not training the model.
No,
You're just
no, and
inferring
that's the
on
thing.
the model.
This is
It's
where
different.
you get these. You download the models from this site pre-trained and run
Exactly.
them on your. So you need a
So you're
computer that
not-
can run those models, but you're not training the models. And
Yeah,
that's where the heavy lifting
the
is.
training is really the heavy lifting. The inferring is, much more CPU than GPU.
Yes.
So if you have a modern CPU, an i7 or at least an up-to-date i7, a Gen 10 maybe, huh? Yeah, it's right outside in the hallway.
They took the
Before the
pin off, right?
Yeah. Huh?
They took the pin off. You don't have.
Yeah,
to
there's
do
no
that.
more pin codes.
So okay, here's an example. I think where they have demos. Do they? I think I was seeing a demo on here. Music Gen. Whatever. Play around with Hugging Face. Hugging Face is a really, really good repository of this information of these models and stuff like this. If you want to play around with it.
Yeah,
yourself.
I really would love to mess around with this and then see if they could get, make some cool GIF memes,
Right.
Just see Darth Vader saying surfs up.
Look, demo- there's
my
no-
buddy's transitioning to video memes now too, and every time it's somebody's birthday, it's a different video. Here's your face on a baby dancing, screaming happy birthday for you.
Oh,
It's
but he's
all
using
generated.
Yeah, but he's probably using Adobe Premiere or something maybe.
Premiere's, no, he's using Photoshop for the photos. They found some website. I don't even know what it is. It's probably Hugging Face for all I know. So.
It might be. All right, so with that, that's it for models. Let's move on to some of the applications by threat actors. I got this image from Mandy and put out an interesting paper on the use of generative AI by threat actors. But we'll go through them one by one. So the first most obvious one is disinformation, like political disinformation and stuff like that. There's already, I found just a quick search, 2 good examples of this. One was Venezuelan state media put out some video. This is actually, this is not a real person. This is all video generated, giving news about, it was supposed to be an American or a European giving news, giving disinformation. But it was a proven case of someone trying to do political disinformation using AI video, voice, and stuff like that. But on the flip side of this, you have an Indian politician from the Hindu National Party who was kind of, outed for corruption, and there were different audio tapes that were leaked. And given all of this AI stuff, there's been a lot of dispute because he had completely dismissed him out of hand, saying, "Oh no, that's AI. That wasn't me. That's all generative AI." And now the firm went in and had to confirm at least one of them was real. One of them may have some editing, but it's muddied the waters enough that even true journalistic, whistleblowing is now at risk because of the risk of we don't know what's real, like you were saying earlier. So I think this is only going to get worse, especially with this is an election year. We're coming up. We're probably going to see the rise of this. Actually, I'm not on Facebook anymore, but from what I hear, Facebook is full embodiment of the dead internet theory at this point. It's just like every other post is just fake AI bot and people engaging with it as if it's real. So it's getting bad. So that's at the top level. Getting a little bit more, and this is hitting a little bit more close to home to what I do. I work in cryptocurrency investigations, doing a lot of transaction tracing and stuff like that. And a lot of our investigations rely on trying to trace funds back to an exchange, a cryptocurrency exchange, what we call off-ramps and on-ramps, where they convert fiat currency into crypto or crypto into fiat currency. And in almost all cases, those need to be a KYC exchange, meaning KYC stands for Know Your Customer, meaning that the exchange has to collect information about who their customers are. And so in our case, if we can get, tie some malicious transaction, some hacker to an exchange, we can subpoena the exchange and get them to reveal their information. It's how we get a lot of these, bad actors in the space. But what we've been seeing the rise of is using generative AI to bypass KYC. This is getting worse and worse.
Wow.
Yeah. Like online-only banks, they have the same kind of ruling here in the States. And KYC, they do a lot of this stuff. And I'm pondering, how are they solving this stuff?
Well, good.
Back then, they actually query the provider to say, is this a real ID number?
Well, and that's the point, is that there's a requirement that they know their customer, but there's no real standard for what that process is. And so good organizations have a good KYC process and will feed this out. The problem is there are services that are KYC services, people who are just outsource it to the lowest bidder. So there'll be a service that you can take a picture of your passport or do a live photo, but there's no standardization for what measures they need to check to verify this stuff.
Well, I think in your last talk,
Mm-hmm.
you talked about a crypto exchange where they went back and found out it was the Koreans.
Right.
And that the stuff that they had uploaded was partially accurate. People lived in different countries. And so therefore you can upload stuff unless you do your due diligence,
Right.
then
Right.
what are you going to do? Short of saying you have to walk in the door, give urine sample, blood sample,
Right.
whatever sample.
Unless you're actually walking in the door and saying, "Yo, this is me. Here's my ID."
Yeah.
It's just hey, look, here's my ID, and then Google picture and say, make my picture look like this on on my ID and on this and on my face.
But even that for North Koreans and stuff like that, people who are motivated can get around it. Money mules. You get a real person who's poor, and I'll pay you $500 to be a front for me. All you got to do is open a crypto account. We'll send some money. You receive it, and then give me the money. You get $500. A lot of people do that for their identity.
My car got broken into 15 years ago, and they just found a girl that looked enough like me that the bank teller didn't give a shit. And that was it. That was it.
At the end of the day,
She
it's
cleaned
still
out my
people.
account, and
Yeah.
they gave me the money back because like.
They're
God,
bad, yeah, but
yeah,
wow.
she was up in Lakeland. Yeah, they took my ID, and that's why we learned not to keep our checkbook in the car. Well, I don't have a checkbook.
So it was always an issue. The point is, generative AI is making it easier, way easier. There's a site, I have 3 different news articles about it, called OnlyFake. They charge $15 to generate fake IDs. They're pretty good. This is an image of one that was used to bypass, I think it was OKX, crypto exchange. This is literally a photo taken from their KYC process on one of these they'll use to bypass. So it's coming up a lot more in our investigations, where no longer when we see a connection back to a KYC exchange, does that even mean anything anymore?
It's because the barrier to entry has been formed.
Right. Right. And listen, these organizations are going to know, they're going to have a process, but you work in a SOC, you know it's all about ratios. False positive, true positive, whatever. If you're dealing with high volumes of noise that's difficult to actually differentiate, like you become overwhelmed. You can't actually do your job properly. So
No, well, this with some of those Google, just those Google with Google stores, I'm like, man, or just know your customer is just gonna be,
it's demolished.
they're gonna have to literally go to a physical place, give them your ID. You know, like if you're gonna trust a digital, like say, hey, they could, well, here's my video, or you're not even. They don't. A lot of these KYCs don't even say, hey, get on a video call.
I will say,
You know.
I know. Well, some of them do, and this is where the standard goes above and beyond, because I've signed up for a lot of these exchanges. Some are just like picture of your ID or passport. Some of them have an app that require proof of liveness. So they will have a special webcam thing. It hooks into your webcam, and you have to like blink and do it from different angles and like move your head around, whatever. But again, we just showed Vesa one. That's going to defeat all of that.
And SoFi's that way.
Yeah.
If you try to sign up for SoFi
Right.
that way. So this is like KYC business opportunity. Physical validation of customer through local means, right? A bunch of small little brick and mortars that you can go to ID, face.
I think I just did that with I did that a couple of weeks ago with me and my brother and my father had to get something notarized, and we used some Blue Notary service, or their notary, the mobile notary we had to join their Zoom application, and before we could join the Zoom application, they had to do the know your customer or identity verification, and they were like, all right, turn on your camera, left, right, up, down, make sure it's you, that you're actually moving in your camera, and it's
Show me a 3573, right? The problem is like the prompting and just shifting that around. Like,
But it's going to become a cat and mouse game. Sorry, you want to say something?
Years ago, and this has been defeated, when I would get my driver's license or anything with a photo, they would keep the old ones so that they could compare them to people coming in. But now that can be defeated. So that's going to be real interesting about, like you said, know your customer or anything online.
It's going to get tough. All right, next one. This is another one that is pretty close to me. I do a lot of investigation on pig butchering cases. So for those who don't know what a pig butchering case is, another name for this is a romance scam. Basically, instead of a normal scam where they just kind of hit you once and get your money and run and take off, pig butchering is a long-term scam where it's like, it's butchering the buffalo. It's using every part of the buffalo. You take as much money as you can. So they will get people for not just what's in their bank account and their savings. They will get them to mortgage their house. They'll get them to, to completely drain their 401k, to max out their credit card.
To borrow money from family members.
And I have stories of people who are like, normal people, worked as a teacher, is retired, and like sent $160,000, which is more than they have. They're will drain their 401k, will borrow against asset, and these people don't care. They will just suck every ounce of money out of a person possible. And they do it by creating a relationship. They do it by creating false romance, whatever, and stringing people along. And the worst parts about this, too, is the people perpetrating these scams in a lot of cases are victims themselves as well. A lot of the people who are actually running not running, but the people who are like talking to the people on the front lines are human trafficking victims in a lot of cases. There's in like Southeast Asia and places like that, there are literal warehouses filled with people who are, being trafficked, forced to do this stuff. It's the people at the top running these organizations that are really at fault. Now, where generative AI comes into this and multimodal AI has come into this is, so the way that this usually starts, and you might have even gotten some of these texts, you get a text, like one of these. Hey, this is whatever. Oh, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. Oh, whatever. And they pick up a conversation and send you a picture of a pretty girl and blah, blah, blah. And they start the conversation that way.
AI can do that now too.
That's the point, and that's what we're starting to see. So, first the images start getting generated. And not just this, to back up these images, a lot of the times they have full fake Instagram profiles and stuff like that will fill with photos. In the past, they would harvest other people's, but then you could reverse image search. Now with generative AIs, you can fill an Instagram profile on these texts with, fake people. And we're starting to see that. Beyond that, these initial contacts, it's very much a numbers game where it's like sending out, casting a fishing line out there. Mm-hmm. So the beginning, they don't really care. These first chat messages are now being done by chatbots. And a human being isn't coming into it until they're further down into. There's all stages of these things where they'll walk them through. So the front lines of these are now chatbots. Beyond this, as I said, there's further stages where they sell this, they continue to sell this. Sometimes they'll go on FaceTime and they'll do chatting. We're starting to see voice generators being used for this stuff. And now with Vesa and stuff like this, we're going to start seeing video generators for some of these chatbots and stuff like that. And then beyond this is where this bypassing KYC comes into it as well. This is how pig butchering affects me. Cryptocurrencies are heavily involved in pig butchering. It's one of the main routes that these people use to drain people, either their existing money or they get them to convert their money into crypto using Bitcoin ATMs or other stuff. And so a lot of these stolen funds are brought onto crypto and then they need to launder them. And these are massive operations. These are not small. So every step along the way, from like getting new potential victims to bringing them in to doing the money laundering, they're all different parts of the organization. So the money laundering aspect is sophisticated. They do a lot of consolidation of this money, and they're starting to also use, image generators to bypass KYC and make it harder to catch as well. So interesting space that we're starting to see a lot of the kind of convergence of some of these different modalities. All right, last slide of this one. Virtual kidnapping. This is really scary stuff that has started to evolve. And this is basically kidnapping, but not kidnapping. Convincing someone that you have kidnapped someone to get them to send you money.
I had to set up a safe word with my mama.
Interesting, yeah.
Who has to do that?
No, it's been good
like
advice
it's like
for a long
password.
time.
Like if anybody ever sends you a call or if anybody ever says, you gotta say like, what's the passcode? And I'm just gonna have to like pray that she remembers through her panic.
I traveled for the government technically as a contractor, and the Department of Homeland Security puts you through all this training, blah, blah, blah.
The challenge word.
Well, no, it's amazing. I was literally going to a conference in Canada, in Ottawa, the safest place you could ever imagine. I had to take training on, I'm not joking, on like how to survive terrorist attacks, how to do physical combat. Literally watched videos and took a test on like physical it's the stupidest stuff in the world, but also like what to do if you're held hostage and what to do if you're in whatever. It's crazy. You would have thought I was going to Afghanistan or something with the training they gave me.
Canada.
But it's Canada. But yes, code words was one of those. Like if you're going out, establish code words with family in case you're kidnapped. But virtual kidnapping. We're starting to see this with voice cloners. People are cloning the voice of loved ones to convince people that they have actually been kidnapped. So I've got a couple of videos here. One is a news story. The other one is actual audio recording of one of these virtual kidnappings.
It's a phone call John Bridges will never forget.
I said, what's wrong? She goes, I've had an accident and I need your help.
His daughter panicked and crying before another voice gets on the line.
He goes, I'm wanting to give your daughter back to you, but I need some cash.
Bridges says he didn't end up giving money to the scammer thanks to his quick-thinking wife who called their actual daughter to confirm she wasn't being held hostage. But he got close, even grabbing cash from home and driving it to a meetup location.
When I first heard my daughter's voice, I mean, It was my daughter's voice. It convinced me that that was her.
Calls like this have the Federal Trade Commission sounding the alarm this month, warning of advancing artificial intelligence used to simulate someone's voice in imposter scams, the most commonly reported fraud in 2022, with losses jumping to $2.6 billion last year.
It's critical that people are aware this technology is out there and that it's really very good.
Voice cloning isn't a new concept, but it's becoming more accessible, accurate, and easier to use thanks to AI. Cybersecurity expert Tiago Enriquez, who says he's now seeing insurance claims for this kind of fraud, showed us just how easy it is.
We're gonna try and find some audio samples of you.
He pulled videos from my social media and uploaded clips to one of a growing number of voice cloning programs.
So it's literally a matter of dragging and dropping audio clips into this program.
That's it.
Then came typing what to say, and with the click of a button...
I already tried to call the bureau. It was weird no one answered. Sounds pretty good.
But could I fool a colleague with it?
Hello? Crazy busy. I forgot my corporate card. Oh no! Can I borrow yours real quick? I just need to pay for a few things. I'll get the receipts.
It wasn't perfect. There were delays, and some sentences sounded more genuine than others, but...
I gotta run out and get my wallet.
It worked.
Thank you so much. Call you in a bit.
My colleague later stunned by the generated audio's accuracy.
I pride myself on never falling for that stuff.
Experts say to make sure you don't fall for it, be skeptical whenever asked for money in any form. Don't rely on the caller ID, those can be faked. And even if it sounds like a loved one calling, hang up and call the person yourself.
Are we going to see an increase in this sort of thing?
I believe we are. As attackers get more familiar with these technologies, what they can do with it, how to operate them, we are going to see an increase in scam attacks.
New technology requiring new lines of defense. Emily Ikeda, NBC News, New York.
And so that was actually used, I don't know who brought it up, they actually used this to mimic a CEO's voice and got a transfer of $300,000. Calling someone saying, hey, we need to, CEO to the CFO, like, I need you to authorize a transfer, blah, blah, blah. $300,000 was wired before they realized the mistake.
And like FTC's called this out too. Specifically, the big challenge here is the voice, the phone number identity, and caller ID. Like it's been a notorious, like, cause up until now, like there was no caller ID. Like you had a phone, it was a rotary. Like you just talked on the phone. Well, you'll be talking to somebody. Now there's this huge push by FTC. It's like we need to stop the ability to spoof other people's phones.
Right.
So there's this verified phone identity thing that's now becoming.
Yeah, but that's difficult with what SS7, that had absolutely no security.
Yeah.
So that's a whole shake and stir.
So but like too, like, you know, if I spoof my number, you know, as my brother and then call my dad and tell him, you know, hey, I need money, like that's the, like, at least that spoof doesn't
The other
happen.
thing is banks are using voice tone identification on the phone.
Yeah.
As a secondary check.
We used to get around voicemail that way.
No, I think there's I thought Citi just dropped that. That's
I hope so.
that they're not using their voice identification thing.
It would also suck if you get like a cold and your voice is all raspy and you can't even log into your account.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, what about swatting? That's another big one. You fake someone's voice, and then that's.
Oh, you don't even need to do that.
I was just about
you
to
go
say,
to the UK
like-
and you call the, you know, the US 911, like
Right.
they can't do anything.
Actually, there's a swatting as a service guy that was out there. Literally did swatting as a service
Yeah.
as a joke and like would get into it. All right, the last thing I'm going to do for this, I'm going to play you an example of one of these virtual kidnappings.
Who's this?
Oh my god, I can't even.
Who's this?
Your dad?
Hello?
It's me, your daughter.
Who? Leah? Are you? Who is
Oh,
this?
Dad, why did you hang up?
Who is this?
It's me, Dad. Who else?
Is this Leah?
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't tell, and from the number, I didn't hang up. You hung up. What happened? Whose phone are you on?
I'm on this person's phone. He told me to call you, Dad.
What kind of accident? Where?
That's pretty scary. Pretty scary stuff. All right, and with that, that's it. That's it for the talk. Just wanted to say, you know, beyond ChatGPT, these AIs are going beyond just text. And I think you guys have all picked up on the fact that this is really throwing a wrench in the idea of what is authentic and what's not, and raises skepticism of basically anything we're running across now. Yeah, especially for this virtual kidnapping. Especially, imagine what's going to happen with the Microsoft Face stuff, VESA, when they get text to voice. You get literally just an image of someone, a clip of their talking, and that's enough to do a FaceTime call from them. Yeah, it's going to be scary.
I look at, like, from a dev landscape perspective, yeah, these individual companies are doing multimodality, that kind of stuff, and this is like where I think AWS has it kind of even harder, is because, all right, so their AI as a service is called Bedrock, and it's literally one to many from an AI perspective, meaning like as a developer, you learn how to dev against one API to hit multiple models. So you could literally build a front end to this that will be text, voice, video, whatever, and they have all of them. Anthropic, the only ones they don't have are the OpenAI ones. So like Llama's in there, Anthropic's in there, etc. And there's Titan, which is the one model that they use. So it's going to be even easier, because you know Amazon, like they cater towards the dev, they make it easy for you to start something. So again, the barrier to entry is super low. You just have to have a little bit of capital, and it's a pay-per-request kind of day.
But what you bring up is an interesting distinguishment on multimodal, which we saw it in the Gemini model, which is like routing. So you're talking to a model, and then at some point it has to decide, oh, I need to look up something on the internet, let me access this service, or I need to generate an image, let me access this service. Versus some of these other ones, like Video Poet, where they are inherently multimodal. You have to put text and an image in to get something out. Like the model is built on using multiple modalities together. So one is, yes, like, and it's going to be interesting as these AIs evolve, as we see kind of this federation where like you access a router and then it's got a whole set of tools that picks out, oh, this is the right model for this job, versus ones that are fully integrated and kind of deal with multiple things at once.
And you called out earlier in the talk where this is a huge thing too, right? Not all problems need this giant model to solve it. And businesses aren't going to want to pay these exorbitant rates, so they'll find these smaller models, or they will tune and learn their own. And it becomes a much smaller, much more fine-tuned, no hallucinations, a lot more direct to that problem. This isn't anything new in my eyes. I think it's just the first time the problem has been tackled so broadly with AI. Fraud detection for payment processing, for instance. This has been around for decades. Right, Visa, MasterCard, Chase, Adyen, who's down in South America, Stripe, all these payment processors, they've been using ML and AI to identify fraud and some leverage through payment at a level that, hey, I look at your